Hello YouTube, this is BUB'S Comics coming at you with a quick comic haul. We went on vacation. We went on vacation to Knoxville, Tennessee area. We stayed at a resort. We had a good time. We saw some shows. And we did some comic hunting and some vinyl hunting. And just had a grand old time, the wife and I, that is. So one of the stores that we stopped at was called... now it's not on here. Now why wouldn't it be on there? I think it was called Nirvana Comics. I'll put it up there, up here somewhere. Make sure I get it correct. It was David and Garen are the hosts, and it's this Printed Panel Podcast was the name of their little YouTube. So if you guys are aware of them, maybe not, we'll check it out and see what's good on that. But in any case, go ahead. They have a YouTube channel and they have Instagram and other stuff like that, so check them out on there. I checked out the shop. I narrowed it down based basically solely on location, like where it was in relation to the other places that we wanted to go. Also who was open. This was on a Tuesday, and some shops were actually closed. And then I went to Google and just Googled shops in the area. And this one seemed to have the most selection of different ages of books. You guys know I like to pick up Golden Age books. I like silver. I like bronze. And I pick up some modern and some copper, of course. So, it's kind of a mix all around. But gold is hard to find anywhere you go. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot of that. But I was hoping to maybe get some good silver and really just see what I could find. So I ended up picking up a key book. I guess you'd call it probably copper or modern key. And then bronze age book, a silver age book, and a vinyl record. All at this shop. So it was fantastic. Met the guy there, the manager there. He was really nice. And I have to say, this shop was so well organized. And you guys know, we've had shows on No Faces Comic Chat before on this very channel discussing what's our dream shop, right? And this shop really had a lot of those components working very well. A couple of things real quick. It was spaced well. So in other words, it wasn't bins next to bins. You were on top of each other. They had wide aisles, which is very nice. So people could get around each other easily. The bins themselves weren't long box deep. They were longer than short box, but they were like stadium stacked. So you could easily look through like a short box worth of books and then reach up, and there was another level. So that was very nice. Nothing on the there were some things on the floor, but nothing you'd really want on the floor, right? So that was good. He had several sections of wall books, if you will. So one section of the older, kind of better wall books, right? Silver Age, major keys. Then he had another section of wall books that were more modern keys and more expensive books, modern size. And then along the racks, and he had several, there was a top rack that had some more keys there as well, or books that he was looking to promote for one reason or another. And then he had a wall of slabs that were just like modern type slabs, some discount areas. It was really, really well organized. Every single book in there, alphabetized, categorized. You can't ask for much more than that. Everything had a bag and board. What more are you looking for? You say, Bub, what we're looking for, good prices. Well, I would say that with a shop like this, I felt like the prices on the books were fair to high, if that makes sense. So I didn't feel like the prices, like when I picked up a book, there was no book that I picked up and I was like, wow, this guy doesn't know what he has, which I always, pet peeve of mine. I always say they know what they have. You know what they have. It's just whether you want to buy it or not. So no book that I pick up and I thought, wow, this guy isn't on top of his pricing. You could tell that they were completely on top of pricing, which is fine because they took the time to price the books. So you guys have been down this road with me before. if you're gonna put prices on the books, that's fine. Honor the prices. I have no problem with that. I know what I'm getting as I go through the shop. But the shops that are price checking you at the register because they don't know what the price is, that's obnoxious, and it just shouldn't happen. And if you're a shop owner and you know that there's any books in your store that aren't priced, they should be in a bin that has a price outside of it, or that's it. Or you should already price your books. Anyway, I've been to a lot of shops that don't price books, that don't alphabetize, that don't do any of these things that this shop is doing so well. And I always see employees standing around doing nothing. So to me, this was the kind of shop that's making use of their time when they're not actively selling books. They are organizing the shop to make it just right and a good shopping experience. I mean, I was able to go through the whole shop, most of the areas that I wanted to go through because they were well labeled. And get in and out of there in like an hour, and I was very happy with that experience, and lots of great stuff that he had there. Of course, I'm on vacation, so budget's always kind of an issue, and I had a few more stops to make. This was the first one we made shopping wise for this kind of stuff. So anyway, great shop. The prices, again, they were not off the wall, but I did find a few books that were low grade copies of books I was looking for, and the prices were reasonable, again, because that's one of the things you can say, well, somebody might have high prices, but if the price is indicative of the grade, then that means if you find some lower grade books, they should have lower prices, right? And this shop did that, so I really appreciate that. So first up, let's make me small and get to the haul. Yo! All right, there we are. First up, we'll start back in the Silver Age with Tech 362 with the go-go checks. So you say, Bub, that doesn't look that low grade. Let me tell you something. This book is rough. It's got writing on the cover here and there. It has a ton of writing all throughout the book, really, and not much more than I had noticed. I noticed a little bit of writing on the cover, and that was good enough. I was good with that, but a ton of writing inside the book. Honestly, had I done my time, had I, paid attention and gone through it, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. But the price was good, and it was fair for the condition, even with the writing inside. So there you go. Tech 362, just a great Infantino cover. Really reminds me of Tech 400, Neil Adams, which this shop had, I think, 2 or 3 copies, one of them signed. So a lot of good books this guy had. Next up, we got a Bronze Age book. We got G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 43. This book I picked up because it's a great Mike Zeck cover. So this has been on my hit list for some time. And you say, that book doesn't look low grade either. Well, I got it for about half the going rate of this book. And so there's got to be some reason for that. If you're at a shop that's paying attention, like this shop is clearly paying attention to their books, then you'll know that there's probably a reason why it's lower grade. So you can't see it too much on the cover, but on the interior you can see some water staining and some watermarks. But if it's not bleeding into the cover, I don't mind. And old BUB'S is going to press that right out and make it shine and look like new. So no problems there. G.I. Joe number 43, definitely a cover buy. I don't collect G.I. Joe. I only have like 5 or 6 issues of G.I. Joe between all the different publications. Some Adam Hughes covers, and of course the Storm Shadow silent issue. So stuff like that I have, but I'm not a big G.I. Joe collector or fan. But I am a fan of Mike Zeck art, and that is fantastic. Mike Zeck routinely comes through the area for conventions, so I'm looking forward to getting him to sign this one and add to my Mike Zeck signature collection. Before I get to this last book, I want to show off this awesome record. Check this out. Original radio broadcast of Superman. So this is up, and away with the adventures of Superman, 4 exciting chapters of this historic radio program. And it's not just 4 exciting chapters, it's the first 4 exciting chapters. So very cool. Here they had the little blurb on it on the background. And it's the first 4 chapters. And it's great. So be on the listen for this. I'm hope to have, I've got my new record set up here. So hopefully I'll have it ready to film finally. It's been kind of tricky to get it to film. My old setup was much easier because it was small. It was a small player. So I'm going to try and set this up, and we're going to record the first story on here, which is the opening of Superman, right? The first Krypton, basically talking about the story of the fall of Krypton. Okay, so last and most certainly not least, this is the best part about a shop that knows its pricing and prices well. If you're spending a little bit of money and you spend a little bit of time building a relationship, what should you be able to do when you get to the counter? You should be able to say, okay, I see this, I see that. Can we work out a deal here and there? Now, as always, I always preface this anytime that I get a deal on a book. I always tell people, you may not get the same deal. and you know what? And I've been standing next to people, and I'll get a deal at the shop, and that person won't get squat because they've been a jerk, or they acted rudely, or they brought their 17 kids in and they're all rubbing their snot all over the walls. I mean, you never know, right? So deals aren't guaranteed to anybody. You get what you put. You get out of the hobby what you put in, and if you are friendly and courteous and try and build a little bit of a rapport, and you know the value of books, if you see one that's a little bit more than you want to pay and you're willing to make a reasonable offer, most shop owners will work with you. That's been my experience. Most shop owners will work with me. So I found a book. He had 2 copies of the book available. And so I walked both of them up there. I couldn't tell the difference between the condition of these two. They both had flaws, but they had different flaws. And to me, they both felt like the same grade. To me, it felt like about a 4 or 5 to me. Either one was about a 4 or 5 to me. So it was just a matter of where you liked your flaws. You like a little tear here, you like a spine tick there. Which do you prefer, right? So this is the key book of the haul. I brought both of them up to the counter. I said, you pay, and I do this all the time. If any shops that know me, they know if you have more than one book available, this happens often, especially if they're mid or low grade. I'll bring them up to the counter and I'll give you the price, and then you tell me which book I'm going home with. And that's what I did. So I brought both books up. I told them how much I wanted to pay, which was less than the asking price, not by a huge ridiculous, it wasn't some insulting offer. And then I let him select the book that was, of the lower condition. And I felt like he went through and picked the book that was the better condition and sold it to me for the lower price. So what more can you ask for? Great guy. Look at this. Fugitoid #1, or Fugitoid. It depends how I say Fugitoid because he's fugitive android. So it should be Fugitoid, but I've heard people say Fugitoid before. But to me, it's Fugitoid. And there it is, looking cool. Fugitoid #1. This is, of course, Laird and Eastman's outside of Turtles property, but they couldn't help it. They brought him right back in, and actually, the Turtles have a cameo appearance on the last page of this book, and or thereabouts. It's towards the end, and they and the story continues in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 5, I think, maybe 6. So somebody can correct me down below. And I'm sure that this was meant to have an ongoing publication history, but it did not. This is the only issue, and there are no reprints that I'm aware of. So again, down in the comments, if anyone knows any other reprints, because I'm always leery of Turtles books that you find in the wild, because you got to check the indicia. It could be a 4th, 5th, 6th printing. You think you're getting a great deal. So this is a book that I've been after for some time. I've missed out on it several times in auctions, and finally got it for what I feel was a fair price. Very, very happy with it. Fugitoid, this is oversized comics, such as the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in this time. And very cool book. Glad to have that. I know our buddy Roger Metarog, he's a big fan of Fugitoid as well. And I just like robots, so that makes it easy. So that's my haul, folks. I hope y'all appreciated that. Sorry I got a little long-winded, but I really want to give praise to this shop where it was due. So it is Printed Panel Podcast, and we can always fix that. Let's do this. So there you go. Printed Panel Podcast. Hashtag Let's Talk Comics, and they do have a YouTube channel. So, and I think it's just under Printed Panel Podcast. So check them out and see what you like. That's it. We'll catch you next time on BUB'S Comics. Remember to read a comic, and let's do some. Look at that Zek, man. That is so good. So good. All right, read a comic. Organize your shops. And don't apologize for the glare. Bye-bye.